having a great time in your life. We have started chapter first, the study of language by George Yule. In the first video, in the first lectures, we have discussed what is language, what is divine language, and the experiment that has been done by the different people, in a different era and different time, and then we have derived the conclusions from their experiments. So all such things we have discussed in our previous video. Today we are moving toward the natural sounds. This is also the topic of the chapter number first. So we are moving toward to study the natural sound source. Like no other species has anything resembling the human language, and it seems like there is no other communication systems that could possibly match human language in flexibility, capacity, and diversity. But when did human language develop? We will probably never know, as a spoken language leaves no trace, as we have discussed in the previous video, that there is no trace, there is no record of the spoken language we have. There is no artifact, there is no document that we have. On the basis of that artifacts of those documents, we can say something that what is the divine language and what is the first language on the earth, or the divine language, the God-given language. So although the ultimate origin of the language is likely to remain unknown, several scientific approaches have been made that we have discussed that lead to the various theories concerning the development of the human language. In the natural sound source, we are moving toward the theories that is concerning the development of the language is the natural sound source. This theory, which is based on the process of onomatopoeia. The onomatopoeia is the things, the formations of the natural word. The basic idea of this theory is that early primitive words could have been imitations of the natural sounds which were heard by the first humans and echoed to mimic the sounds of the world around them. This theory can be subdivided. There are sub-classifications can be possible of this theory and different type of concept that we have. In the natural sound system, the human auditory system is already functioning before the birth, at around 7 months. That early processing capacity developed into an ability to identify sound in an environment, allowing humans to make connections between sounds and the things producing that sound. And this leads to the idea that the primitive words derive from the imitations, as we have already discussed that the first concept that we have, that all the words languages is being derived from the when humans start observing the natural objects and try to imitate the sounds present in the natural world. So this is a imitation of the natural sound that early men and women heard around them, because they have to live, and humans has the capacity to think and to use the language, the sound system that has been given to the humans by God. So human has to use this capacity, and in order to use this capacity, channelize this capacity, they have derived language from the natural sound. That was the first thought. And Seward's nickname. So among the Seward's nickname that he invented to talk about the origin of the speech, like the Jeffersons called the idea the Boovo Theory. As I have said that when humans first imitate and then echo to mimic the sound of the world around them, so this theory, this hypothesis can be divided can be subdivided in several different concepts. The first we have a Boovo theory. So the first we have the Boovo theory. When the different object flew by making a caw or coo sound, the early humans tried to imitate the sounds and then use them to refer to those objects even when they were not present. The fact that all the modern languages have some words with pronunciations that seems to echo naturally occurring sound could be used to support this theory. In English, in addition to coo, we have a splash, bang, boom, rattle, buzz, hiss, screech, and of course Boovo. Words that sound similarly to the noises they describe are the examples of onomatopoeia, the creations of the word that imitate the natural sound, the original words. So one version of the natural sound source is called Boovo theory. The idea behind this theory is that the first human imitated animal sound in order to refer to a certain animal. So when the first humans heard a bird making a tweet sound, they could have imitated that sound to tell the other to tell one of their other fellow, hey, just a bird flew by. Unfortunately, this theory only works to limited extent, and it become quite difficult to imitate the sounds of the rock or a tree or cave. The Boovo theory does not adequately explain the creations of words for the inanimate or soundless object, nor does it explain how grammar or syntax develop. The Boovo theory seems to assume that a language is only based on a set of words naming objects. Therefore, it is not considered to be a complete explanation of the origin of the theory. Then we have another kind of theory that is called the Boovo theory. Another Josepher Nick's name was Boovo theory, which proposed that the speech developed from the instinctive sounds people make in emotional circumstances, that is, the original sound of the language may have come from natural crises of the emotions such as pain, anger, and joy. By this route, presumably, ouch come to have its painful connotation, but ouch and other interjections such as oh, boh, woe, yuck are usually produced with sudden intake of the breath, which is the opposite of the ordinary talk. We normally produce spoken language as we breathe out. We cannot speak when we breathe in. So we speak while we exhale, not inhale. In other words, the expressive noises people make in emotional reaction contain sounds that are not otherwise used in speech productions. Consequently, would seems to be rather unlikely candidate as the source sound for the language. Another version, the first version that we have discussed is the Boovo theory. Now we have the second version. Another version of the language developing from the natural sound is provided by the Boovo theory. According to this hypothesis, the first one developed from the natural cries of emotions made by the first humans, exclamations of joy, anger, pain and surprise, exclamation of joy, exclamation of anger, exclamations of pain, exclamation of surprise, such as that the word that we have discussed, ouch, wow, hey, might have been the very first utterance of our ancestors. But like that Boovo theory, this is also just assumptions and not, and rather a restricted explanation for the origin of the language. Emotional expressions such as are mostly produced with sudden intake of breath and happen rather unintentionally. The expressive noises people make an emotional reaction can hardly be considered as a words, or rather therefore unlikely to be the source of the language. We cannot decide these emotional words, the words that are carrying exclamations of joy, sadness, pain, or anything, surprise. But we cannot say that this is a word, this is just emotions, this is expressive emotional reactions that people do, and it cannot be considered. So like Boovo theory, it does not have the ability to give us a complete explanation of the origin of the language. So this is in today's lectures we were just focusing on the natural sounds, the description, the difference between the natural sounds, the imitations of the human from the natural sounds, and then they have derived the word from the natural sound that they heard, because when they heard the sound, so around them people, they would share the same word with them. So for example, if a bird make a sound, so he would so the person on the person on the spot would tell another person, so this is a bird, like this is a bird, and that makes this kind of a sounds. So maybe this will be the starting point, or this the original point, or the origin of the language. Thank you so much. And if you like this lectures, please subscribe the channels. Thank you.